Have you seen this woman with the hairdo? The hair did. It's hot in Louisiana. That's,
Listen, he has literally not stopped crying for 2 weeks, and the only time he's happy is with a fruit roll up in his hand, and he starts naked.
And when he's watching my YouTube videos. I feel like that's
And
when
then
he's...
last night, I was like, why do I hear Gary V? Karen.
He's motivated now. Gary V, I love Gary V. He sent me a text today, like he sends 8 million people. He's like, we're live, get on now. I was like, ooh, that's hot. I like it. I like a bossy man. All right, tell us your questions, kids.
All right, you ready for the first one?
Yes, ma'am.
My 15-year-old son is on the autism spectrum and has an IEP. He's in general education classes, but I really feel like he needs to be in a resource math algebra class. If he needs to have a resource class, would that prevent him from going to a university right away after graduating high school?
So the only thing that it stops you from going to a university is because you don't have the requirements to go to that university. So non-special ed, we had this little thing called COVID. I don't know if you guys know about it. And my last child graduated the second year of that. And we had done all of this testing and doing all this testing. And finally, almost all of the schools that he was applying to said, never mind, we don't care about any of that. So the requirements to go to a college, whether it's a college, a 2-year college, a 4-year college, some sort of specialty program, are very dependent on what they want. So there are requirements in your state to get a high school diploma, and then there are requirements that usually are additional over those foundational credit hours to be able to apply to a 4-year college. So let's say that you're missing some of those credits because your child is in resource or your child has modified work. That would mean in Texas, for instance, you would get 22 credits. You would be missing 4 credits. You can always take those credits online. We have lots of online classes that are available in any state to get those credits that you're missing. But let's not sit and tell parents with kids with disabilities, oh, if you do this, you can't go to a 4-year college. So make sure that you're giving them the right information.
Okay, the second part of her question is she wants to know, do you find that resource classes can be beneficial to students?
I think everybody on the planet Earth should be in resource. Here's what you need to know about resource. It is the most expensive setting in schools. It's the most expensive setting, which is why there may be people flailing on the floor saying you don't want that. Or worse, they would just look you in the face and lie and say, we got rid of that. We got rid of the resource. Well, listen, resource is part of the federal code 300.115. It's actually supplementary aids and services. So we didn't get rid of it, Buttercup. And it's for kids that need that more supported setting. They need able to access the general ed curriculum with modifications.
Excellent. So after the IEP meeting, I looked at the functional behavior goal, and I don't agree with the frequency, twice a month for 30 minutes. With reporting every report card, the person responsible for implementing the goal is the counselor. How can I address the issue if I don't agree with the goal?
So all decisions on IEP are made by the team, right? And since the parents are an important part of the team, you want to make sure that you're included. The counselor probably isn't his teacher. So behavior goals are measured with the most frequency of any goals that we would see because they occur across settings. So when you're writing the IEP goal, 2 things that you want to have. Number 1, who is the implementer? I would have that general ed and special education. And on below that, they will have method of evaluations or method of measurement. These are the 3 words I want you to say. Are you saying it with me? Weekly data collection. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to mitigate the acuity of his disability.
All right, perfect. If a child has a heart condition and takes daily medication for high blood pressure, shouldn't there be a health plan on file? The school told my parent that if he does not take medication at school, then they don't need any type of health plan. I disagree. What happens if he has any kind of episode or reaction that has to do with his high blood pressure at school? Wouldn't they want to know about his heart condition?
So you're both right. So there's not an onus, duty, and responsibility for them to have that. However, if you have health concerns for your child that participates in public school, we certainly can write an IHP. Whether or not the medicine is dispensed at school, you would need a doctor's note about the need for the medicine and the condition that he is treating and what can be the side effects. And we can write an IHP for any student, whether they're general ed, 504, or special education.
Does a speech-only IEP require the 5 stakeholders?
That's very funny. All IEP meetings require the 5 stakeholders.
All right.
That was a good question. You almost tricked it in me there. I was ready.
I know, it was a good
I was
question.
like-
I was thinking it myself. Can the regular education teacher just provide written input and not attend the meeting?
Not mine. Not my meetings. Not legal meetings. Not IEP meetings. No.
Can the regular general education teacher be any teacher at the school and not be the student's teacher of record?
Well, it makes sense. That would be someone who knows the student, who is at least the student's homeroom teacher, who might end up being the student's teacher. So I understand sometimes we have to move things around, but certainly if I have a child that has an SLD and reading and math, and you send in the art teacher, I love the art teacher, but we're not working on reading and math. So let's look at getting a general ed teacher that is most applicable to give the most information to the IEP meeting.
Shannon, are you ready?
Shannon, are you ready?
Yes. Okay. Should students be tested for ID if they are already eligible for services under autism?
So a student should be tested in areas where you think there might be a suspected disability. So I don't test for ID. I'm going to test for a full cognitive profile in all 7 Gs. With that, I'm going to test formal achievement with the standard written expression, reading and math. And additionally, I'm going to add OE and LC, oral expression and listening comprehension. Those numbers will determine if a student meets the criteria for ID, if the student meets a criteria for general ed dyslexia, or if the student meets a criteria for a specific learning disability in one of the 9 areas. However, you have to remember findings are findings of criteria from the evaluator. Ultimately, the committee makes the decision because a student that has autism very much might have low scores, even ones that show a cognitive disability on an IQ test, because often students with that disability struggle to attend to testing. So again, we're looking at it as a team and looking at the totality of how the student presents.
I have a foster child with an IEP. The county refuses to transport him to after-school care. Is this against the law? We were told it is.
So refuses to transport him to after-school care. So almost always a school is going to transport a student to after-school care, I think up until, it's 6th grade, something like that. I don't know how far away it is. I do know that schools have limitations. They don't drive to every after-school care location that is possible. So if it's outside of their zone, that might be something that's a limitation where you live.
What should a preschool program be offering for a student who's eligible for services with ASD level 3?
So a preschool program is different than ECSC. So I have a student right now who's in a preschool program. The preschool program is for students that meet specific criteria, whether it's military, economic, second language. There's certain criteria that you meet for preschool. ECSC, early childhood special education, is for children between the ages of 3 and 5 that have a disability. At minimum, they have a speech impairment and then other disabilities. So they're 2 totally different things. And of course, the services are going to be contingent on the student's unique circumstances.
Can a student have a BIP if they do not already have an IEP?
Yep. A student can have a behavior intervention plan if they have a 504.
What should I expect to see for data, and how do I request to see the data?
Well, we expect it to be able to be photocopied. We expect for you to be able to email it to me. We expect for you to be able to print it out. I was in a due process hearing one time. My very first due process. It was an accident. It was a train wreck. Thank goodness it wasn't videoed. And I asked the teacher, I said, in the open records, Miss Smith, I was unable to find your IEP data collection sheets for Billy. He's in your math class and your English class. And she goes, oh, I don't do that. He's got somebody with him. So that's a problem. So your data should be able to send over to all the IEP team members and we could read it. I would assume your principal, your case manager, your IEP team lead is going to provide you with raw data collection sheets so that you can collect IEP data. Almost all software will be able to take the IEP goals that you have and provide you a blank sheet. Teachers pay teachers, have them for 99 cents. You could have a piece of, big chief no paper and write the IEP goal, and then weekly just write the criteria. But you need to have it written down. Is anybody going to ask you for it? Probably never, unless they've A, seen my trainings, B, you have a state written complaint written by Gina, who's not messing around, or you receive a federal U.S. Department of Education Office of Civil Rights complaint from me. So it's going to be really hard to make them if you didn't do them the first time.
How would you handle an AT specialist who denies support for your child's robust AAC device?
Clearly, I would say Buttercup. The Assistive Technology Act of 1998 requires for you to provide assistive technology, services, minutes, and devices for the individual in this public school who needs that to access their curriculum. And AT is a service. That's why the Assistive Technology Act of 1998 calls it a service. Should you choose to deny that student the service, please provide that denial in a prior written notice.
All right, a second grade boy had his hearing tested as part of the FIE. He fell twice within 3 weeks. Mom took him to the doctor, and the doctor said that his hearing is a mild conductive hearing loss, but is at 96%, and hearing is good enough for testing, but to make sure it is in a quiet area when evaluating. Does the failure in hearing stop or delay the 60-day timeline for the evaluation to be completed? This is in Florida. Thank you.
Yeah, even in Florida, it pauses it, right? And that's why we do it right out of the gate, because we don't want that to impact the results. So it's really important that it was very good that the school did that. And then you need to have that summary letter, not just what the doctor's saying to you. Take that summary letter back from the doctor, back to the school, so then they could start again with the testing. But it does pause it, for sure.
Okay, great. This is a question from someone on Facebook. My son with autism gets sick easily with respiratory illnesses that my neurotypical kids get, but get over in less time. We got a letter about no more than 4 absences a semester at the high school. We don't always have a doctor's note for every day missed due to illness. The consequences are having to make up missed time after school or on the weekends. Do we have any rights here? He's not missing for any other reason than significant respiratory problems, and he does have an IEP.
Sure. So I have a kiddo that I serve in New York that has an ongoing condition with severe blinding seizures. And when he has them, he doesn't rally that quick, and he just has to stay home to recover from them. So we've put a permanent letter in his file that unless the parent gives notice of a different doctor, that the parent can just keep him home. She doesn't have to leave work and take him to a doctor to get a doctor's note because the acuity of his condition. So I think something like that would be appropriate. We don't need to take the child who already has a medical condition back into a medical office. And it's pretty standard that he needs to be home to recover from that. So that's something you can put in the file. Now, the people were not happy about it, but that's okay. It's what the kiddo needs. Plus, if you're sick, we're not going to give you more work because you were sick and you have an ongoing medical condition.
Can my daughter be in an advanced math class and still have accommodations in math?
You can have accommodations if you are in the building, if you are in life skills or you're the valedictorian.
Great. What are the important things to consider when deciding between a diploma and a certificate?
I can't really answer that. I don't find that to be my experience. I find that to be shenanigans that parents are told. If you In Texas, everybody earns a diploma. So I would really check with your state to see if that is actually true. Myself and my team sit in meetings all day long with attorneys, directors, and superintendents who look at us and tell us absolute lies like it is a congressional act. So please check with your state to verify what you're hearing at your school district meeting is actually accurate. We find on our team it rarely is.
So this parent is in Georgia, and she says, is there any situation or circumstances in which a student can be denied testing for special education services, such as absences?
Yeah, I mean, if you have severe absences, that really is going to, obviously, if you haven't had access to education, there's a reason. That's not a reason to test for special education, and there are some cases like that. So that is a real reason to deny testing for special education.
Why doesn't an ADHD medical diagnosis qualify for OHI?
So that's a really good question. So you have a medical diagnosis, which certainly is that, but a federal eligibility, one of the 13 federal eligibilities under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, means that you have a disability, and based on that disability, you are in need of special education and or related services. So you might have ADHD and characteristics of ADHD, but you don't need somebody to provide you special education instruction above what the general education teachers can provide.
As a general education teacher, how much responsibility do I have in tracking progress towards IEP goals?
So you are responsible for tracking all of the IEP goals that you are the implementer on. So I have a brand new kiddo that I just got, and we did the IEP, and he's in all of general ed, and when they wrote all 7 goals, they put special ed, but he never leaves general ed. So it's important that if the student with the disability is in general ed, no matter what special ed services they're receiving, the general ed teacher additionally is in charge of taking data on those IEP goals. That's how that works.
What frequency is the ideal frequency for data collection?
So there's no ideal frequency. I mean, I have kiddos that have great behavioral needs. Their data is tracked every 15 minutes because they participate in the PASS program, or some sort of highly supported program, or an autism unit or an adaptive behavior unit. There's data that's collected every 2 weeks because that's when somebody sees the physical therapist, or, however often they see that special educator. But if it's an academic goal or a behavior goal, at minimum, it should be tracked once a week.
How do you determine if a student needs a one-to-one aid?
If they are at an endangerment to themselves and or their peers and or the adults.
Our school is saying it's more convenient to do a full reevaluation at 2 years instead of 3. Is there any downside to that?
I don't know what the word convenient means. So we do what's appropriate. Sometimes it's appropriate to do it at 12 months and 1 day. So, but when I hear the word convenient, it makes me twitch. So.
As a general ed teacher, I see a student not getting all of their IEP met. How do I alert the parent without my job at risk?
I don't know. I don't know that you could do that. I started out doing this in 1997 when I was 5 years old. I had a teacher for my own child, pass me a note, which is the reason that I do this. It's the reason our partners do this, because it's still a secret. 48 years later, teachers can't tell the parents anything. Parents can't tell the parents anything. It's just ridiculous, and God bless teachers. And if you are a teacher watching right now, we want you to know that we love you and we thank you for everything that you do for kiddos.
What federal code elaborates on RTI not being long-term? I've already sent the school the OSEP memo.
Well, our RTI is a general ed product. So when you're having the teacher who's teaching a classroom full of little cherubs provide RTI to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 children, 2, 3, 4, 5 days a week, you basically are giving them special education. So for me, if you're having to do RTI for 2 grading periods, and it's a generality, and you still have to deliver it, I would argue that that rises to the level of special education and related services, because we don't want the general ed teacher doing that. We want the general ed teacher providing general ed instruction. Otherwise, those other students are being penalized because they don't have access to their general ed teacher.
Is there a consequence for the school for not providing accommodations that are written in the IEP for a high school student? We found out 2/3 of the way through the semester that the teacher was not even aware that the student had an IEP. They apologized and supposedly have corrected the matter going forward.
So the only time there's a consequence or an action or resolution needed is when you file. And so we are in, we've just finished part 2 of an OCR webinar series, and the third one will be January 3rd. I think that there should be a response to when a student is denied their civil rights, and a response when the student is denied a free, appropriate public education. And hopefully from that response, hopefully from that filing, that campus will have the training as part of the resolution to not have that happen to students with disabilities again.
Would you know in truancy court, is it legal in a truancy case for a minor to be in an open court where everyone in the courtroom will hear HIPAA and FERPA information? If it's not legal, who would I file with on this?
So I am a special education advocate. I'm also a mediator for the family courts. I don't exactly know that answer, but there are times in court cases where children are required to testify for specific cases. So I don't have an answer to that. I would reach out to an attorney.
What data is important when determining 504 accommodations?
The impact of the student's disability, right? What would we need to give him to accommodate him to level the playing field somewhat, right? So if we gave him extra time, if we chunked his assignments, if we gave him an opportunity to answer 3 questions instead of 4, would we see more gains in his progress?
All right. How do you get a child tested in school when they continue to tell you he's wonderful in school? We don't see any of those behaviors. Even though teacher has mentioned he fidgets a ton, gets up and works standing up a lot, forgets his homework, and has a teacher made reminder checklist on his desk. And they said he should most likely be tested for gifted classes. School won't budge on this, and it's going on year 3.
Right. So I mean, you might look for supporting data. So it sounds like there might be characteristics of attention needs. I'm not a doctor. I wouldn't know that. But there are kiddos that fidget and stand up and do their work that don't need an IEP. So we're looking at what do we think is a suspected disability. So do you suspect the disability is attention? Is it academics? Is it language? Is it communication? But I would have some supporting document and then show where the failure and the gap is at school. If you can't show the failure and gap at school, it's going to be hard to get the testing. If he has good grades, if he's making it through, if teachers are working with him and he's successful by the school standards, it's going to be hard to get testing.
We have been asking for data on my child's IEP goals since September. The teacher and the special education director are stalling and not providing it. What's our next step?
So the law says that you must provide IEP progress report commensurate with the same time that other students receive their grades. So I'm assuming since September you've had grades come out, whether your child's on a 6-week grading system or a 9-week grading system. That's a violation of FAPE. You certainly could file a state written complaint.
Are there any specific safeguards to send to a family of a student with a 504?
So, I mean, you have the 504 guidelines that go out with your 504 document that should be sent to the parents. Their 504 rights under the 1973 Act.
A A student has a diagnosis of autism and is from a different country. Do they need to have an evaluation done?
They would need to have an evaluation done if you think that they're going to need help in school other than what the general education teacher can provide.
Sorry, hang on.
It's okay. It's not like I'm going anywhere.
Thoughts on inclusion, ECSE, with in-class support. I have 7 out of 23 students on IEP.
So that was a unique question. So ECSC is a self-contained special ed class for 3 to 5 year olds. So there's not a requirement for 3 to 5 year olds to go to school. So what happens is we have preschool programs at school that have a specific population there. What do I think about inclusion? I don't usually think much of it for 3 to 5. If I have a kiddo that needs eligibility for ECSC, I want that parent and that student to maximize that time so he can be as ready as possible his kindergarten year. That's just my personal opinion. Yes, I do color my hair. Was that one of the questions? I just color the bottom.
A few repeats in here, so I'm having to go through.
I have one from a special education director. She asked what your advice would be for her opening a new self-contained classroom.
Oh my gosh. Well, love those teachers, support those teachers, make sure that you are listening to them and that you have, scheduled times to meet with them to make sure that what you're providing them and the product they're providing those students is appropriate. We love our special ed teachers, and it's an amazing setting to get kids what they need.
All right, well, Shannon is finding the new one and wonderful. I have another one that would be good to come off of that one. A sped teacher is asking, can I sue the district, or what are my recourses? I've been abused repeatedly by a student. I've been in the hospital twice.
So I am so sorry that your school district hasn't supported you. You would have to reach out to your teacher union. That's something very different. And I'm so sorry that that's happened to you.
Okay. Can a student on an IEP receive OT services even though they did not qualify for OT but they need help?
Yep. 300.111 says that a student doesn't even have to be listed by their disability on the paperwork as long as we agree that the student is in need of special education and related services. So if we decide as a sane, grown-up committee a child needs something, we can just agree to give it to them. We don't have to test for everything. Otherwise we could just do evaluations and send out emails and say this is what you get and you can't throw a fit. The reason we have humans involved is because a child is never paperwork and they are never an evaluation. So that would be fantastic.
Is it out of compliance if an 8-1-2 classroom doesn't have the 2 TAs there at all times?
I would have to know what all times mean. Is that because we've taken Scott and Cindy across the hall to Miss Quinn's dyslexia class, or like we go on Wednesdays? If it's because we're missing a staff member, then that's a problem. If they've gone to have a lunch break or, transfer students to other classes, that's fine. But if the classroom's not staffed, that's a problem.
Thoughts on Head Start and development on IEP children?
So Head Start is not my space, but anything that you can get to intervene for a child that's appropriate for you and your family, I would act on it.
Can you provide advice on this? I cath my daughter every day at school because the nurse won't do it.
I think that's amazing that you have time to do that. I think it's great that the school allows you to provide that medical care to your child. It is a legal obligation of the district, city, or county to provide that nursing need for your child.
Here's another one similar to that. Child with medical accommodation is sent home due to the staff trained leaves and there's no backup available.
Nope, 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 nope. So I would have a meeting and say, it looks like we're going to need to look at out-of-district placement at the expense of the district, as you're not able to provide my child the totality of their needs.
What does the law say on counting in-class support and inclusion minutes?
So I think we get this a lot, counting minutes. There's no counting. A student has a schedule of services, a determination of services, a special ed services page. Those minutes have to be delivered. So, we have lots of school districts, bless their hearts, that are using the para model, not a thing, to deliver in-class support and special education. That's not special education. That's a para. And so while certainly a para is part of the SDI model, the student has to receive special education services from a special educator. So those are the minutes that we track. Certainly, a paraprofessional can support that special educator, but often what we're seeing and my partners are seeing is we have a case manager for Billy who's in 7th grade. That case manager has 85 kids on her caseload. She doesn't go into a single class, and she collects data from people that send her. She's not working with these kids. Come on, you guys. When you're in a meeting, I would say, okay, who's Billy's history teacher? What are the names of both adults in the class? And look up those names. A general education teacher and a para, whether you like it or not, is not special education. It just isn't. It isn't. The reason they call it specially designed instruction is because somebody who's a special educator delivers it, oversees it, or is governing the people that are delivering it. So Gina is speaking very quietly with her microphone off. It makes it hard to hear.
Do the schools have an obligation to address a medically diagnosed issue with auditory or working memory?
A medically diagnosed issue with... So, I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. If there's a medical need that needs to be addressed by the staff members, then yes. But there are lots of kiddos that have medical needs that we don't need to address. Auditory processing disorder is not an eligibility under IDEA, nor is it a medical condition at school that we can serve. Certainly, I have my clients go and get auditory processing disorder evaluations. That information is often really helpful in how we deliver the product, maybe where we stand, which side of the student. But it's not a disability under IDEA, and it's not a medical condition in schools.
I got a question for you, Karen.
Okay, I'm in the question answering business.
What did you ask in Santa for Christmas?
Salt and pepper shakers.
What's on your list?
Salt and pepper shakers. Salt and pepper shakers. Salt and pepper shakers. I got some today. I got salt and pepper shakers from somebody that liked me. And I got a second package that also had, they were amazing. And then, always lipstick. You can never have enough.
Are you sure you're not on the naughty list?
I invented the color change at schools. I don't know that that's the naughty list. It's just a continuum of behavior options.
Oh, nice. All right, OCR opened an investigation of my child's school and teacher I reported. What happens to the school and teacher if found liable for discrimination and not implementing the IEP?
That's a fantastic question that you can get the answer to January 3rd at 7 p.m. on part 3 of our OCR series. But we're going to really unpack what those options would be. They're based upon how you filed and the resolution that you sought.
Very nice. If district nurses refuse to give meds prescribed by doctor and DPI said no violation of IDEA, the LEA won't put medication into the IEP. Would OCR be a viable route? She just needs her meds to be able to go to school. I'm not close enough when working at my job location to run and give them to her.
Well, I've never heard of a school being allowed to not dispense needed medication that occur during the instructional day. I'm not sure what state you live in. You must live in the state of confusion. But that's a violation of her nursing license. So there's always a couple ways that we can walk this out.
All right, can you tell us about your lipstick?
yes, tonight we are wearing.
102, 803.
No, ma'am. Ma'am, we're not. We've. I'm very concerned that this company, who I love, may or may not be going out of business. Folklore. So first we did this one, and then it was a little bit much, so we took it down a notch with a little shimmer on top of it. All right. We want to layer the lipsticks just like you had to. But my favorite lipstick of all time is always going to be L'Oreal number 180. You have to say it like that, like you're from up north. L'Oreal number 180. Yes. And you can wear that at night. During the day, if you're going to, an event, you probably want to put some number 135 on top of it. So, you need to always have at least 4 or 5 lipsticks for whatever kind of IEP meeting you're having.
I recently talked to a client this week who she said, I love watching the TikTok with, the lady with the big hair.
That's right. The big hair that she grew out of her head.
No, there you go. All right, the SPED teacher is pulling my child for his reading minutes, but all she is doing is giving him task boxes that he's done within 5 minutes. He's allowed to do what he wants for the remainder of the time. This is after I had to file a state complaint because he sat in a self-contained classroom for 15 weeks with 0 instruction. What can I do? I tried to get them to add reading comprehension goal to force her to work with him, but they are refusing, saying his comprehension is being addressed through his language arts goal. I have approached the principal with evidence of things, and nothing has still been done. The SPED director isn't any better. She lies and twists the words around. After 2 semesters of my kid not getting the education he deserves, I just want to know what I can do to hold them accountable.
So at the beginning of your question, she said she already filed a state complaint, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, you're going to have to wait on that state complaint to come back. But you have to deliver the IEP in the conformity that we agreed upon it. And you have to deliver it with fidelity. So, 5 minutes, and then he gets to hem and haw and do whatever he wants. Probably isn't on his schedule of services page. So, that would be for me an OCR complaint all day long. But it's called failure to implement. Failure to implement, whether it's a state complaint or a federal complaint.
Thank you for that. Can a bio parent...
Uh-oh.
Savannah's on her way.
That's it, here I am. It's rapid fire question time. Are you ready?
Yes.
It's the time everybody looks forward to. I don't know why last week or the last time me and you did this together, it was just me, you, and Shannon. I got like 10 emails that were like, we need more Karen and Alicia. The people love us.
They love us.
I don't know why. All right, are you ready, boss?
I'm ready.
I told them to add emojis, but nobody's listening to me. But I'm going to read a few.
Oh, no, they're coming. Here they come.
Oh, they're not. Oh, here they are. Okay, all right. All right. Okay, ready.
It's 3 all rights, ma'am. It's all right.
All right.
She's from Louisiana.
Okay, so you posted a video earlier for all the teachers out there. We have quite a few teachers in our comments, so why don't you tell them this little surprise we have going on?
Yes, so it's not just for teachers. It's for anybody that works at a school district, a county, or a city. We love you, and we would like to give you a free month to Special Education Academy. We are so thankful that you lay down your life for kids in general ed, special ed, and all the kids, and that you deal with the advocates, parents, and all the shenanigans that we might provide your life. So if you're a staff member at a school district in America, or I guess anywhere, a staff member in the United States of the world, of the globe, and you would like a free month to Special Education Academy, just email Alicia at advocate at specialeducationacademy.com, and she will give you the top secret code. They don't tell me what it is because, I'm a blurter.
Yeah, you're real good at blurting things out. Okay, we have a question from, their name is TikToker, which,
I like it.
I like Picasso's. All right, do students have to complete RTI before being recommended for an IEP?
What? Ain't no completing art. What? We just make up stuff. No. And there's no RTI completion. What are you going to, a certificate? Is there like a ceremony? Actually, I guess you failed RTI, which is why you need an IEP. What? It's gonna be a no for me.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna let Gina. She had one more pre-submitted question left, and I cut her off. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gina.
That's all right, Vanna. I'll let it slide. Can a bio parent deny access to a step parent to attend an IEP without a court order in place?
I have it happen all the time. Here's, as a mediator for the family courts, here's what school districts aren't interested in. Your custody, I don't like you issues. That is the biggest way to blow up a meeting. I have a situation right now with an amazing parent, an amazing step parent, and the other parent is denying, just makes it miserable, which then, it handicaps the school from helping your child. But yes, the parent, the original parents of the student, the bio parents, could say, yes, I do not want the step parent involved.
Let's always just stay student focused. That's the best thing we can do.
Why don't, could we start doing that? Like, what, is that going to start leap year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. How to make sure newly diagnosed ADHD second grader gets a 504 and IEP. Meeting for eligibility is this week.
Well, how you make sure is you give the evaluation team enough information to let them know that he must have accommodations to be successful in school.
Correct. Legality of an out-of-state IEP. What are the steps to implement?
So the legality is whenever you move districts, whether it's state or counties or cities, is whenever that IEP arrives at your district, you have to implement it with fidelity and match the services as much as you can for 30 days. In those 30 days, the new campus can update evaluations if needed, and then they have a permanent IEP meeting. But you have to match the IEP as it comes in.
Okay, and this one is from an intervention specialist. They said, can I also serve as an advocate?
You mean, do you want to be an advocate? Absolutely. It's going to be hard for you to be on staff at a school district or on contract with a school district and then also be an advocate. But we would love to have you come be an advocate.
And then we had a parent that said they wish that code was for parents, but we have a code we can give them. You want to give them the code, Karen? You want me to give them the code?
Ma'am. You mean the TikTok Live?
Correct.
Well, that's for 2 weeks.
I know, but they get a code too, right?
They get a code too, yeah.
It's always available.
Yeah.
So do you want me to tell them how to use the code?
Tell them how to use the code.
All right. So all these lovely ladies are going to type the steps in for me while I tell you exactly what to do. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to go to www.specialeducationacademy.com. Across the top of the page, you're going to see a bunch of different tabs. You're going to click on the training tab. You're going to scroll on down to the academy. Click on that, and you're going to put in all of your information. Now, if you are a staff member or you work in the school, you're going to put in the coupon code that we emailed to you. If you're a parent or anyone else, you're going to put in this code. All caps, TikTok Live. That's T for Timothy, I for Indigo, K for Karen, T for Timothy, O for Oliver, K for Karen, L for Levi, I for Indigo, V for Victory, and E for Elephant. All caps, TikTok Live. There's a little blue button that says coupon code question mark. You gotta look for it. But when you click on the blue words, the box will pop up, type it in. You'll get 15 days for free. After that 15 days, you're going to go to the regular rate of $47 a month. If you want to cancel at any time, no problem. You just go into your membership and hit pause. It'll pause immediately. But if you want to hang out, you can watch 300 hours of Karen training you on everything under the sun and under the IEP. And you'll be able to see all of her future trainings, like the one we're having tonight. On what? I don't know, because I'm not Karen. All right. If you need a video of instructions on how to do everything I just said, it's pinned at the top of Karen's TikTok. So as soon as it's over, just go watch that video, follow the steps, and join us tonight.
I will tell you, we are in a series, Important Office of Special Education Program Letters, that will change outcomes in your IEP meetings.
Perfect. See, I knew Karen would know. All right, are we allowed to be told we aren't allowed to have access to our child's records?
You're allowed to be told anything illegal, but it's not legal. So the parent of the student has a right to access their educational records. They're not the school's records. They're actually the student with the disability and the parent's records. So I would get that in writing. You're going to ask for a time that you can view and or receive your student's educational records. When you're in the academy, we'll be happy to give you a copy of our very robust FOIA open records request that we provide to people.
Yeah, so you're going to want to join the academy. We're doing a lot over there. Okay, the TikToker wants to know, what is the difference between a 504 and an IEP?
How did she get a
meeting this week?
What is the difference between a 504 and an IEP? A 504 is a civil right plan that says somebody with a disability cannot be discriminated against and denied accommodations. An IEP is an individualized education program with goals, services, supports, time given to the student with a disability above the general education teacher.
Perfect. Okay, so the email is advocate@specialeducationacademy.com. Everybody get ready, because I'm going to type it in the chat. Everybody take a screenshot. Karen, post. Make yourself look good. Ready? Everybody take a screenshot. It's in the chat. All right.
And did everybody else type it in? It's a lot to type in.
She's a first-year teacher, or he. I don't know, because there's not a picture, but their name is TikToker, the one who's asking the question.
Yes.
First-year teacher. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for being a teacher. We love teachers.
I love teachers. I was one. All right. Strange question. As a paralegal, would it be a conflict in California since I can't give legal advice? I guess to be an advocate, would it be a conflict?
I mean, it's not a conflict. You're not giving legal advice. You're not practicing law. You're giving recommendations and next steps. So we're very clear when we train advocates that we are not practicing law. We're not giving them legal recommendations. We're certainly not giving them counsel, and we're not advising them. We're giving them recommendations and next steps.
All right. How involved should students on an adaptive curriculum with pre-vocational activities at school?
How involved?
Sorry. Let me say it again. How involved should students on an adaptive curriculum be with pre-vocational activities at the school?
They should be as involved as their plan says. So we have an amazing partner, Quinn Perkins. She invented the word transition right after she invented the internet. And you should have a robust transition plan. There's a great resource called the Oregon Resource Handbook, which is amazing. But we need to get kiddos ready for post-secondary success. So we need to maximize that time from the time they're 14 or 16 so that they're ready for gainful employment, independent living, and further education. But it's going to be contingent on if you have an amazing transition supplement, appropriate post-secondary and vocational goals.
All right, just for clarification, to find the pinned video, you have to leave Karen's live, go to Special Education Boss's TikTok, and it would be one of the pinned videos at the top. It should be the first pinned video on her account. All right, boss, we're going to take 2 more and then get ready for the academy because we have 7,000 people over there waiting for us.
I got to put on some more lipstick.
Yeah, you got to fix that. You got to get that. I mean, not fix. It looks beautiful, but you know what I mean.
She just said, you got to fix that. Like I'm Betty Davis with a cigarette, all right?
You're all right? All right. All right? All right. Is there anything different that needs to be in the last IEP before the student goes to technical school, college, or anything like that?
I mean, I think any information that you're going to give the Office of Disability to help them write a plan of support for that student if needed.
Okay. I did put the email in. I'm going to put it in right now, all caps.
Yeah.
Now remember,
Everybody's going to put it in. Gina's going to put it in.
So we're all typing it in right now.
Well, I'm not. Can I just tell you, I was in a meeting the other day, and they said everybody has to type their name and their title in the chat. You know what I did? Nothing. What are you talking about, ma'am? You have to type your name in the chat. Weren't we on the invitation? Didn't you just announce all of us and aren't our names at the bottom of our little pictures? I am not going to go like this during a meeting. I think we all know that I was talking during the typing class in 1978 with my volleyball coach who said, whatever you do, don't look at the keyboard. And then he went back to reading the newspaper. So I just wanted to share that. Somebody says I don't see it. Lorraine doesn't see it.
Okay, so it's okay, I'm not going to spell all this out, okay? But it's advocate.
Advocate, ADVOCATE, at specialeducationacademy.com.
Yes, you can also go to our website, which is linked in Karen's link tree, and you can send an email through our portal on there as well. But we have Equipped Advocacy, Shannon, Gina, Christina Let's IEP Together, and IEP Investigator are all tapping it into the chat right now.
The chat doesn't recognize .com. So special.
I'm just going to type it in without the .com, ready? No .com. It's gone now. Now can you see it? I need people to let me know. Hit the hearts. Something.
That says the chat filters it out. So it's advocate. Oh, look. Advocate at specialeducationacademy.com. Yeah, we got it. We got it, Picasso. Ooh.
Now I can see everybody's. Here, pose for the picture. And it's pinned to the top, so everybody should see it.
Okay. Did my picture look real?
Right. Now we know. All right, ladies, let's all remember that from now.
I love Tamara Dillard. She is like the valedictorian of emojis tonight. I just want to say.
She is.
If we could give you a gift back, we would give it.
We would give you a rose.
Thank you, Kelly.
This rose?
I accept the rose. Do you have some rose salt and pepper shakers? Because that's what I would like.
Ma'am, you and these salt and pepper shakers. I've been to your house. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. Yeah.
Everywhere. Okay, we got one more question. You ready?
Right.
I mean, I know I keep saying that.
Oh, Tamara just crushed it again. She made 2 lines.
What?
We all want to grow up and be Tamara one day.
We're gonna meet her. She's the best. Okay. This one needs to be anonymous, so I'm gonna try to keep all of the
Identifiable information.
that thing. Okay. It's late for me. Alright, anyways. There's a 2nd grade student who qualifies for special education services as a student with autism. He has significant academic delays. They're supposed to receive 120 minutes per week of reading and math support. He has only been serviced by an uncertified aide. How would one report this?
So, I mean, you're going to file either.
One person works in the school.
So you would file, it's a violation of 300.156, special educator qualifications under IDEA. I would file under OCR because it's a federal statute, and I would prefer that it goes that way.
Okay, perfect. You look beautiful. We love all the people.
We love all the people.
All the self-contained teachers that are in the comments chit-chatting. We love you all, especially this super sped teacher. Who's our number 2 gifter.
Are you gonna
ranking.
tell them that where I'm gonna be next Tuesday? Now I'm not gonna be with you. I'm gonna be with that other guy named MM.
Yeah, you're gonna be with Mickey.
Mr. Mouse. I'm going to be with Mr. Mouse. So if you're at any of the 4 parks next week, I'm available for photo ops.
Oh, she loves it.
Somebody said Eminem. Yes, the secret's out.
Slim Shady, you're gonna be hanging out together.
Yeah. You got one shot. He's my people. Yes, I do hang out with him a lot. We're doing a rap video soon. It's going to be Reynolds rap, but it's going to be really good. It's going to be really Eminem. That is the funniest thing.
Yeah, I'm jealous you get to go be with Mickey.
I'm going to be with Mickey Mouse. I need to be with Mickey Mouse. So if you're there, please come see me the 25th to the 28th. I'll be available.
Really, she really wants you to stop. She really wants you to stop, especially when she's right next to her husband, and be like, hey, are you that lady from TikTok? Every time you see her. It doesn't matter if you do it 12 times. You see her 12 times at the park. Do it.
Just keep walking around. My husband's like, I know you're making this up. I know that you set this up. I was in Orlando about a month ago, and I was at the baggage claim, and this lovely occupational therapist came up to me. My husband's like, you have to stop doing this. Wait, I'm shipping in people? Am I shipping in people?
Someone said, is it like a Martha Stewart and Snoop thing?
It would be great, wouldn't it? Yes, I would like Martha Stewart's, whoever's doing her face work, it looks very good. It's not too much. It's just enough. So, anyway.
Raps and plaps.
Raps and plaps.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
There is one person that wanted me to let you know that Costco has a discount on Disney gift cards right now.
What?
So you buy a gift card. So say the gift card's $100, but you only pay $80, so you get $20 for free.
So you need to text my husband.
I need to let him know.
Yes.
All right, we gotta go.
Okay, we love you. We are so thankful for you. Enjoy next week. We won't be here, but we will be back at it January 2nd, live. If you need anything, let us know. Remember, we get it right for the child. We get it right for everybody. We'll see you guys in next training.